All right, guys. Good evening. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I'm going to try as much as possible. I'm going to be very fast today. Today I'm going to be talking about my career journey, starting from OAU to where I am today. My name is Tunde Otaro, if as you already know. Um, so, so how it all started. So I remember that so before I got into OAU, right, I was a game freak, especially FIFA, PS, PlayStation generally. I love to play games a lot, and I think there was a particular point in time that I asked my dad. I was like, "Dad, which people create computer games?" And he was like, "Computer scientists do." So since then, I'd always had this. I just told myself from that point onwards that I want to be a computer science person. I want to be a computer scientist. And then JAM came, and then I filled my JAM form. I filled like computer science as my course, and then I think I had issues with JAM. I think the first year. So the second time when I was applying again, my dad was like, dude, wait, why not pick electronics, electrical engineering because it's wide and then you have more options like to get a job. And so I picked electronics engineering. But in my mind, I knew like where a kind of like what I wanted to do really. I wanted to create things like that, things that would um things that I can like build myself and like that people can use. So I remember in my first year, this guy from ACI, Olaoluwa, came to our room and was like, there's a computer training that we're trying to do, and he would like us to pay and blah, blah, blah. And when he came and told us the price, we're already doing arrow for the guy. We're like, how can you call this stuff 10,000? Because I think the fee then was 10,000. Yeah, it's very expensive. How can you call this stuff 10,000? But I had a very good friend, Adimola Oyewale. We did like pretty great together, and he was like, guy, let's just do this thing. You never can know what can happen after this. Let's just do it. Let's close our eyes and do this stuff. And I remember vividly that I had to actually start going around to borrow money because 10,000 actually in 2012 was kind of a lot of money. So I remember that I went around, I borrowed money from like 7 people. I just gathered the money. I had no laptop, and I just paid for the program, and then I went for ACI. And then when I got into ACI, I remember I picked Java and I picked HTML. But when we were doing HTML, the guy, so HTML was fun because you could quickly do something with HTML and on your browser, you see the output and it was fun. It was interesting. But Java on the other end was like the direct opposite. You write a whole lot of file and then at the end of the day, you just see one line. And the guy that was taking Java was always using tools, get and set that there, get and set that there. And it was so frustrating. And so you get it here, you set it here, you set, you get set. And that was what I heard throughout Java. So it was at that point, like people were like drifting away from the Java class. Were like, this guy or this Java thing is out of our head. It's beyond our scope. We should try something else. And that was when I saw Goki Obasa. I was taking Python at the time, and I just like his passion just drew me in. Like he was so passionate about what he was talking about, like his teaching. You ask him question, you start again from beginning, unlike the Java guy that once he just goes like you get it, you set it here. What are you asking me? It's not hard. And I just switched to Python, and that's when I switched to Python. Goki was taking Python, and I think I just switched to Python, and yeah, so and that's how I started learning. So I actually went into programming through Python, and then I went into Python, and that period was the we had we had strike then, a 6 month break. So I was in school, stayed back in school for about 6 months. I had no computer, and I was always writing on paper in the nights. We'll go back to the hostel. I would just wait till my friend has finished. I'll borrow his computer. Then it was Stimola and then Victor Schwager. So those two, I'll stay with Sao a little bit. After working, I'll borrow his computer. I'll type a little bit. Go to Victor's room, the same thing. And I was just shuffling like back and forth like that. And so the good thing about that was that So why I was motivated to just keep on going, not only because I loved what I was doing, was that I had like support group of friends, right? I had like the similar minds that were also very passionate about learning what we're doing, like programming. And then, so I think after that period, Goki like kind of like introduced us into AIT. I just basically told us Goki was actually a very nice guy. Throughout that period, he kept on motivating us. There were times without numbers where we'll all go to Fox and Fingers, one restaurant in OAU there. We'll all go to Fox and Fingers, we'll talk, he'll ask us about career plan and growth and what we want to do in the next 4 or 5 years and stuff like that. So it was very cool having someone like Goki around us, like, to always motivate us and inspire us, was always telling us the stories. And like that we should never give up, that we should just keep pushing ourselves and, you know, um, make ourselves better, basically. And then he introduced us to boot camp. So I think ACI lasted for 3 months. It was a 6 month strike then. ACI lasted for 3 months. Then AITI, I think it was a boot camp sponsored by Google. I can't really remember. And this also lasted for 3 months. So when we got into AITI boot camp, and that was where we met like other guys, likes of Richard, Rahman, Moin, and the likes, and that kind of like introduced us into like a bigger community. So we had like my own support group, and then seeing all these guys, what they were doing at that point, like there was hope for us that see how our bosses, and they were just like us, but only that in an advanced state. We were kind of like many, myself, Demola, Jubril, me, and all of us, like we were about 12, 13 there, and we're always going together. Anytime we are walking on the road, you just see us, all of us, like 13 of us on the road, just and so it was really interesting. And then when we saw these guys, it was something similar. And we're like, okay, there is hope for us. We have like people that want to be like the likes of all these guys. And then that kind of spurred us. Like we're always passionate about what we're doing. We're sleeping in the labs, and we and yeah, that kind of like introduced us to like more opportunities, and then a bigger network of people by seeing all these guys. And so for AITI, so that was when I went back to Java, J2ME. Makako and Wale were the ones that taught that, and they kind of like taught it very well. So I went back to Java, and I think at the end of the AITI bootcamp, I was able to build a small mobile game. Actually, JSM taught me a lot of things about memory management and stuff like that. You can't just create variables anyhow. You have to manage a lot of things, and it was actually quite fun to learn that. And then after AITI, I think after AITI, then I was in my second year in IFE, and then I was privileged to serve as the editor in chief in IEEE. I was given the post by Ope Fagoyimbo. This guy is brother, Ore's brother, Ore's friend. So I was given the opportunity to serve as editor in chief there, and I think I think at that point, yeah, it was part two. So yeah, so I think at that point I was one of the people that was always running around, right? Like I gave my very best when I was the editor in chief. I did my very best, and I think Goki was the I think it was the chair. It was the chair then. I did my very best. I made sure that yeah, I did, and Goki really loved that about me. The fact that I was always running around, like things that were not even about my post. My editor in chief. I'll run around, do logistics, I'll do this and stuff like that. And me and Gil became very close. Uh, and so that's that about 7 well. And then after that, I also had like more opportunities, which I blew actually. You wouldn't believe that I was actually in all this. I had opportunities um, to what's the word now? Yeah, to get into all these programs, right? Like I had the opportunity to get, I was actually in Mentorship International, which took started at the start. I did like the first stage, but at the point I just dropped out, right? Because I think I wasn't really focused, and there were a lot of things to do. This one was doing that, and we're many, and this one was saying, I'm doing this one. I'm like, okay, let me try it. And and then I just left this, and I had to tell because it was actually Goke that told me about this. He told us that we should apply and just see. But after some time, I just dropped, and then I also go into IQ too as well. And then almost the same thing, like because I wasn't focused, there was no clear path really for me. And then for CCL boot camp, and then there was also a boot camp that I was supposed to go to. Actually, I really wanted to go to this one. I told my parents about it, and they were like, Lagos, yeah, but so this one just in school. That place is too far. Blah, blah. And I was like, I was trying to explain, and eventually they just told me to stay back, which I did. And my friends, about three of them, went for the boot camp. And when they came back, it was very clear that there was now like a very big gap between myself and those guys because you could see like that there was a technical gap and kind of thing. So from that point onwards, I had already told myself right from part two that my parents would never influence anything about my life anymore. Right from part two. So right from then, any decision I take, I make it myself. I don't really. I just when I make it, I now tell them that this is what I've made my decision and this is what I'm doing and stuff like that. They will shout, scream. Sometimes they'll come to Ife, but like I own my life and I knew what I was going for. Some of the things that I did then, we still gist right today, and they say this guy a very smart boy. Some of all those things that I did, my decision to stay back in school and do stuff, they were actually all against it. They were like, why not come home? You have 6 months. You're always in school. You're always doing this. But I knew what I wanted to do, right? And I stayed back. So yeah, and then I had like a couple of setbacks. So I think after that, I got introduced to people in my department because before then, I was always staying in computer departments in Narcos library to be specific. I was always staying there. We're sleeping there. We'll eat there. From there, we'll go to class in the morning. We'll sleep there. Very early in the morning, we'll go to the hostel. We'll have our baths. We'll come back. From there, we'll go to class, and from class, we'll come back. And it was always like that. But I think after some points, Victor introduced me to some people in Elect and said, and some of them now said, okay, there's a competition coming up, Imagine Co-op Microsoft. Why not? Let us come up with something and and build something. And then we decided to come up like with a device that's a gaming pad, basically that we create and then allow developers to interface with that pad. So for example, and the gaming pad was for visually impaired people actually. So basically, we wanted to empower visually impaired people to play games, any kind of game, FIFA, Mortal Kombat, any kind of game. And we actually went quite far. I remember I went to finance, we did the modeling, fiber optics, they fired it up, it came out, boards component, everything, sensors on the pad, and it was actually very pretty cool. And then we spent like a lot of our time, we invested a lot of our time doing like throughout, like getting towards the end of my second year in school. And then we went for the competition. And so let me explain, like, let me give you an example. So for FIFA now, so we had sensor like heat sensor, like we wanted the visually impaired people to have that kind of feeling that you enjoy seeing something, right, but you don't have sight, right? So we wanted to have a lot of vibration. We wanted to have a lot of sensors like heat sensor, vibrators around the pad. I'll just give them the feeling. Maybe when they're playing FIFA, if the ball is going to the left, this side will vibrate in a way that will calibrate it and make sure that they know exactly where the ball is on the pitch and where they can turn and those kind of things. So a lot of engineering, we're going to meet lecturers and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of models on Humane and stuff like that. So this kind of like took our time from academics, right? We're just focused on this. And we went for the competition in Lagos. We did our presentation. We were wowed, all the judges. In fact, the head of Microsoft Nigeria came out and said, I've told you guys that there are only 3 schools in Nigeria. OU, Unilag, and the others. He went out shouting, no, that's not. But that's just to show you how impressed they were with what we built. Like after our presentation, of course, we lied that the battery was dead. It wasn't working because we could not finish. Like we were engineering the solution. So we lied after presenting the model, we lied that the battery was dead and we could not really do a demo. But we were still impressed because after our demo, everybody came around our table. They were like, "Wow, you guys are just out of this world. How did you guys do this?" And blah blah blah. This one, this one. So in our minds, we thought that we had won this competition, and only for them to announce the results. They announced third place, second place, and when they announced second place, and it was now, and then we already stood up, we're like jumping, and they just announced the first place, and it was another team, I was just shocked, like I was shocked, and I just sat back. I saw my teammate was devastated because you can't imagine what we had put into this stuff, like a whole semester, like we're just doing this, and we're very sad. And I remember in the car when we came from Lagos, we took a car, and the driver was always looking back and wondering if we are normal people, because we're silent throughout. We didn't say, the only time we spoke was when we agreed the price with the guy. And when we got to Ife, we didn't say a single thing. And every time the guy would look back and say, "Wow, this guy is quiet. Why did not say anything?" We're silent. We're devastated. Our eyes were red, soaked, and we just came back. And the sad part was we all had setbacks at this point in time, because that was when I failed this course. And at that point, we're doing this MIT syllabus where when you fail a course, it's like a prerequisite to another course. And I failed that course, and it was a prerequisite to another course. It's a one-unit course, a lab course. I failed it, and it was a prerequisite to another course. That was a prerequisite to another course, and it had propagated already, and I knew already in part two that I was going to have an extra year. So putting all these things together, like that period was very, very, very crazy period in my life. I had to kind of like withdraw myself like from everybody. I had to just, and it constantly, I was just always blaming myself why I committed myself into doing this device, you mean. Yeah, and so yeah, and so then my third year, like throughout my third year, I was just focused on my academics. I wanted to like prove to myself that I was in, because at this point I was just thinking that, why am I dumb? Why am I not smart? Why? So I wanted to prove to myself that I'm actually smart, which I did, to be sincere, because in my third year, almost all my courses were like A's, like and after the third year, I looked to myself, I said, is this what I really want? Do I want to have A's? And then at the end of the day, I'm not happy with myself. And I knew that, for some people, they could balance it, right? But I'm this kind of person that once I'm in something, I want to be in something. I can't do half 50-50. And after my third year, I was like, dude, this is not what you want. I want to be able to write things. I want to be able to build things for people to use and stuff like that. So after my third year, I actually started, like throughout my third year, I actually didn't go into programming. I was just myself, doing my own reading, doing my own stuff, didn't really talk much with others. I wasn't following my normal group that we used to work in second year. So I was just myself reading most of the time. And then that took me back to, so my fourth year, I started programming again, started mixing with people, started looking for side jobs. I think my first year I went for one PHP course like that, which took a while. And then after that, um, it was time for CWES, part 4 CWES, normal CWES for um, tech department. And I had the decision to choose between staying back in school and then or going to a company. So because I actually really liked school, like staying back in school when people were not there, surplus water, surplus everything. Only that you don't have like all the food, all the eateries that you see will be closed, majority of them. But every other thing was surplus, and it was always cool staying in school that period. So I had the opportunity, I had the decision to either stay back in school or actually go out to look for a company. So I'd actually already made up my mind to up to 80% to say, okay, guys, I'm staying back in school. But I was just talking with people, and they were all going out, and I was like, "Ah, are you sure I don't want to go out?" And then it was getting very late, and something just told me to just call Goke. So call Goke and tell him. And then I called Goke. And he told Goke that, okay, I'm looking for placement. So he said, okay, yeah, you're looking for placement. Sure, I know. And then before I knew what was happening, the following week, I think I got a call from Yemi. And then Yemi interviewed me on the phone, and then he asked me some questions about, he asked me to um, 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 he asked me to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 in PHP. And me, that I just finished one PHP lesson, I was feeling fly. I was able to do some things. I just said, I think I said 8 or so. And there was a pause, Yemi paused for like some seconds. And it was like 8. And then I was like, yes, 8. And it was like, okay. And then he now asked me some questions on, he asked me like an architectural question, basically, like how would I scale something? Just asked me. I had no idea what Yemi was talking about when he asked me that question, but I just kept on talking. I was just saying anything that came to my head. That you create this one, yeah, you connect it to this one, you do this one. Yemi would ask me that I should go again, and I would say something entirely different from what I said before. I just have to just keep talking. I just had to. I wanted to really get the place. I wanted to get the job. I just kept on talking, and then after which I got the offer letter the following, I think the following week thereabout, and then telling me to when I would like to resume and stuff like that. I was actually extremely happy. The amount on letter was very huge. I was like, that this is big money. Like comparing what I'd been scrapping up and down, collecting from this place to this place. So I was like, this is really cool. Like I'll be earning this amount, blah blah blah. And I was happy. I showed my dad the contract. I was like, Dad, we are global now. We are free. And it was also very happy for me. And I came to Kota and Coach. And I think the first project I worked on in Kota and Coach was Track Plus. Track Plus was a very crazy. Wale can testify to that. It was a very crazy. I was just thrown directly into one feature. They wanted to do audit trail, and I kept on audit trail. Basically, I don't know if we all know what audit trail is, right? If you take any action on the site, audit trail was actually Korea was actually a very big application. So what they wanted to do was, if any action taken on the site, they want to be able to record it. And I was just thrown into to build that feature, and I kept on doing that feature every single day during stand up. I'll come and I'll talk about auditory. I did this auditory, I did this. I was able to move X to Y. Following day, I would say the same thing. I did auditory for like almost like 3 weeks. It was really frustrating. I was like doing, and it wasn't as if I was working. I was really working. I was doing a lot of research, but I was just coming and I was saying the same thing. Like I was, and I could not really even put what I was doing into words, like to say during stand up, and it was really frustrating. And I just kept on doing it, and Dapo always just kept on pushing me that she just, Dapo was the project PM at that point, and he just kept on pushing us that, look, guys, don't see yourself as an intern. Like right from when I was in, right from my COS, he had always been telling us that see yourself as professionals. You guys are young professionals. Don't You have to know courage. He will tell us that, okay, yeah, tell me how you talk and stand up tomorrow. And then I'll say, okay, I did this. You say, you see, that's why people don't talk like that. You see me now, change. It kind of like made me it kind of like changed my mindset about who I was at that point. I knew I was an intern, but he didn't want us to. He wanted us to act as if we were already full responsibilities on our shoulders. Uh, and yeah, and so I think that was like, and I met a lot of great guys. Wale at that time we had just plastic chairs, and so it was really fun. Like everybody committed, doing the same, like coming to the same, like trying to achieve the same goal. Like everybody had like a purpose, right? Like you would see Cookie, you see Yemi, you see everybody, and they were all, I would say, checkmating themselves, right? Like you see when Yemi does something bad, right? Not bad like per se, but Goki was always there to quickly correct and say, okay, this is not good, this is how it should be done. And the same thing, vice versa. And everybody was like checkmating each other. We didn't really need talks, we didn't really need Ronke to be around, we didn't need Tapo to be around to talk and say, okay, guys, this is how we should do it. No, but we're all like, we as if we knew we're young, but at least we're going very fast. During stand up, you see guys who talk, drop good updates. Cotton Rouge was very cool. Then it's not as if it's not cool now. I'm not saying it's not cool, but then like you could feel the passion, you could feel the energy, you could see that, there was something bigger that we're all going for, right? That we're all trying to achieve. Um, and that was like the summary of my COS placement. Uh, yeah, and then towards the end of my COS, we had the Imagine Cup came again, and we're like, guys, my guys just called me. I think 2 weeks towards the end of my IT placement. Yeah, my guys just called me and said, "Our Microsoft Imagine Cup is out again. What do you think? Do you think we should try it?" And I was like, "Ah, yes, cool, let's try it." And then we just got all the experience that we had in part one. We're like, "See, guys, we've learned now. We can't over-engineer things. Let's just start from the basics. Let's just do something that works and something that is useful. We don't need to over-engineer things and do something at the end of it that won't finish. Start something at the end of it that won't finish." And so we just said, okay, let's create something that would allow visual impaired people be able to like do the basic things on their phones, like play a song, make a phone call, and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, cool. And in like we built a new version of Vimeo in like 10 days, and it was cool because we applied all the things that we got from our failure. We just applied it, and then we built we got to Lagos, we presented, people were wowed. Like after our demo, this time we were able to do like a proper demo, and people clapped for us a lot. And then they announced winners, and we won, and we won in Nigeria, and we were also selected to represent Africa. And then we went to United States in Seattle. And then that kind of like exposed me, right? Because I got to meet like other people like myself. We talked like other people from other countries, spoke about ideas, and it was actually cool because at that point I realized that we are not really different, because I had this concept, this mindset initially that these Uyinbo guys are actually very super smart and blah blah blah. But contrary, they are smart, quite all right, but the gap between themselves, the white people and us, is not really very big, to be honest, because all what we're talking were like just normal things, and we could converse, like, talk about technical things. We were even, at the point, we were even wowing themselves. They were like, cool, that's a smart idea. But they have structures, like they have policies in place, they have grants, they have all these things that would foster them to be able to innovate, to be able to build things. And so that kind of like changed my mindset thinking and made me believe that I can be word-based myself, right? Like I'm not very, I'm not, I'm not that bad myself, and I came back motivated. But of course, we went there, we couldn't compare our product to their product because they had a lot of support from government. We didn't even have support from people sponsoring it in Nigeria, Microsoft. They didn't give us any time. They didn't support us. All they did was just like the trip, the tickets to that place, and we had to console ourselves and say, guys, we're able to do this without any support, right? We are actually very super smart guys, and that gives us confidence, like, in moving forward. And then I came back, and then I was like end of part 4, and then started my final year. At that point, I wasn't interested in academics anymore. I just made up my mind that, okay, I know what I want to do now. And I started crashing courses, crashing exams, like 2 nights before an exam, a whole course, I'll crash it. And I just wanted, at that point, I knew that my GP was okay. And I knew that I wasn't really going for academics per se like that. I just knew that, okay, no matter how badly I performed, I was not going to drop below like the grade that I was. So I was just crashing in love the exams and doing stuff. I just concentrated on work and basically, and then the opportunity for Chardesk came along. Chardesk is an artificial intelligence company. They're based in the US, but they have a branch in Enugu, and they wanted like guys to start up the branch in Enugu. So it was interesting. I went to Enugu. I went to see like the representative in Enugu. And then we spoke, and then we spoke about like the plan, future plans, and it was interesting. I was like, wow, this is a very good opportunity for us to start something like what we have here in Kotan, because I was like, if I can carry like the model, what I've learned from Kota and Coach to that place, it would really make sense. Um, but somewhere along the line, something happened, and I wasn't just really feeling it anymore. Like what we're trying to enforce were not, so they were not really focused on process, right? They were just focused on like results, which was something that I had experienced in Koda and Coach. Koda and Coach was like were process driven, like my during my internship. In everything we did, like there was structure around it, there was a process. And they were like more like they want to do things anyhow, and I wasn't really into it. So at the point, I just like kind of dropped and I was working remotely, so it was kind of difficult. Sometimes I would communicate, I won't get feedback and stuff like that. So at the point, I just left it for a while, thinking that okay, when I move to Enugu, it will be easier for me to implement some of all those things myself, like in person, like physically. So it was something that I was actually really interested in. But when like towards, I think 2 weeks to my final exam, I got the letter, the sack letter. And so when I got it, I was at first I was shocked, like I was sack letter. I got fired, and I was like, what did I do? Like, why are you firing me? So I called the guy in charge there, and he was like it's the distance from the guy in the US and stuff like that. And I was trying to explain that it has been really difficult for me, and I've been trying to, and most times I actually message the guy and say, this is really difficult for me because sometimes I communicate, I don't get feedback and stuff like that. But it just happened. And funny enough, before I got this offer, I think Toast spoke to me about like picking up a job, doing a job for, I think we had like a client, I think he rests at one power company, I can't really remember. And I was like, no, no, that wasn't nice. And I didn't say it in a very nice way, and I felt very bad. I've just damn talks in this way. So when I got fired, yeah, I was like, so see, I told talks to leave and listen. I was like, but it wasn't actually the case. But when I spoke to Stokes was like, that it's fine, it's cool. And before then, we did one hackathon in Ife, which we won. So they already gave us like a contract at Conga. And then I spoke to Tokes about, I think I spoke to Yemi first about like options. I was like, should I come here or should I go to Conga? My mind actually wants to go to Conga because Conga at that time, they were like on point. They had the big name announced. It was a decision that it was a little bit difficult for me to make. And eventually I spoke to Yemi about it. Yemi just said it depends on what I want. That if I need like to work on a bigger scale, then I want to go with Kunga. And I was like, well, I've tried Kota and Push before. Let me try something else. And I decided to go to Kunga. And I called Tokes. I remember I called and Tokes was like, that was very cool. And I had some guys there link me up. Already said when I get there, I should meet one guy, Jacob Ayokunle. He said Raman is there, Buye is there. That those are the guys that I should like stick with, and that would kind of like provide some form of mentorship for me. So I went to Conga. I remember my first week. First week was onboarding, normal onboarding. Second week, I was already pulling stones on PR. And like the head of engineering already just noticed me, like saw my work, and I was like, when did this guy come? He's making this kind of PR. And so like I came to my desk, spoke to me about like plans because I was in the merchant team. And merchant team, they had this very large legacy system. And they had this mindset to like improve, like build new services out of like legacy system. So he came to me, he spoke to me about plans for the merchant team. And 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 it was cool. And it was cool generally. And I met a lot of people, met great guys, a lot of people that you see on Twitter, celebrity devs that you see on Twitter. We're all at Conga, the Shavas, the Efe Money, the Wale, all these guys were all there. And it was cool. It was cool just even communicating, like discussing with them, talking about tech stuff with them. They had like a great set of language and tools, but the problem was that because they had were so many, and the structure wasn't really there, right? And that was one of the things that I began to miss when I was in Kota. Were so many, and sometimes you make a pull request, and someone from another team just approves your pull request, another person just makes your pull request and is in production catching everything. And you're like, why did you merge this thing? Why is it this thing? And so everything was just, here and there. There was no structure. And sometimes you see some engineers have been working on Excel sheets, like apparently like merchants lists. Merchants have to upload their products, what they want to sell on Conga. So we're in charge of that. We're in the merchant team, anything that has to do with like merchants. And then we'll have to start. So sometimes for a week, we'll be working on spreadsheets. And that's the funny thing about big companies. Sometimes you hear people working in Google and Apple and you think they are doing great stuff. But sometimes what they are doing is, even when they tell you, it can be very funny because 2 weeks we'll be working on Excel sheet, we'll be padding as a software engineer, you're padding Excel sheets, you're cleaning commands and you're doing all those kind of things. And at that point, like I was already thinking, I was like, is this what I want for my career? Is this like the kind of things I want to be doing? And I was already thinking and saying, um, how can I plan? How can I plan my career? And then I think on my 7th month at Conga, then they had that issue, the takeover issue. NASPA's, their major sponsors, stopped sponsoring them. And then I think at that point they had to sell Conga. And then that period was like a very black period for everybody. People just come to work, they go straight to the game room. They like, because there was nothing much to do. Like the future that we're even working on, they just shut the future down. They said we should relax on the future. So people were even coming to work to come and prepare their LinkedIn profile, because people were already just thinking of it's time to port, and it was really a bad period. So at that point, I was already thinking of I was already thinking of what I want to do, right? And so I'd already made up my mind that okay, this is what I want to do. I want to move to a place that will fast track my growth, right? I want to move to a place that would give me like leadership opportunities, that would make me really involved in like the company, get closer to business, to make decisions that actually affect like business and things like that. Even when so the Conga even doubled my salary and then told me that I was going to and they proposed like the contract to me, and they doubled my salary. And then I'd already made up my mind that I was going to actually join. So and then at that point, Yemi spoke to me and told me about things that they were doing at Kota and Coach at the time. I think that was when they wanted to start working on Regita and stuff like that. It was interesting, and I just messaged Tokes and I sent an email and I told Tokes and I said, Tokes, spoke to Yemi and it's something, and I like what I heard from him, and I would like to join. The company. And at that point, Tokes wasn't sure. Tokes was like, I isn't sure about finances yet and stuff like that, but he will let me know if there's anything. So I was actually optimistic. And then when he called me and asked me about how much I want to earn, I told him like what I was currently earning, and he's like, look, guy, we can't offer that, blah blah blah. But I was fine. I had the opportunity to take double or just take what I got, because I already knew. So at that point, it wasn't really money per se that was my motivating factor. I just needed a place where I could like plan. I just needed a place where, because I already planned, I already knew all the things that I needed. I just needed a place that would like foster, that would encourage me to do all those things. And so I chose Scott and Coach. And then I came back to Scott and Coach, and it was fun being back at Scott and Coach, like the place where there was process, where people were motivated to work, and a lot of growth opportunities. Scott and Coach is just such a lovely place. And I'm not saying this because I'm here right now, to be honest. I'm saying this because it's the fact, it's the truth. We have a culture where you have like you have the freedom to do what you want to do, right? Like you can come up with ideas, you can implement your ideas. Like the resistance to implementation of your ideas is very low compared to other places that you go to. And I think sometimes we kind of like abuse that freedom, which isn't cool, because of the freedom, just want to about it, because nobody's really actually putting pressure on you to do stuff per se like that. So and I thought about all those things, and I was like, okay, I think Cotton and Coach is the place for me to come, because I already came up with the career plan. I have one long sheet of like a plan, what I want to do, where I want to focus on APIs. I want to do these are the stacks language I want to do, and these are like the secondary things I want to do on the side, and these are just like fun things like gaming and all those things. So I had all those things. So constantly waking up in the morning, I saw that chart. It was like my motivating factor to always okay. There's always something to do because I had like that chart graphically in my head. So and then sometimes when I go out there, check on Quora what other companies are doing, I could easily come here and say, okay, let's implement some of all these things, right? The DSA stuff that we started, because the opportunity was there for you to just say, okay, you can try, we can do stuff, like you can implement things and actually see it work. And yeah, I came back and I think coming back was like it was one of the hardest decisions that I made in my life. But looking back 1 year and 8 months ago, I think it was like the best career decision, like weighing the two options I had, staying at Kunga that had the big name, earning a lot of money. It was really challenging at that point. Coming back to Kosa and Coach, so Ibadan, that not many people know. Um, and yeah, and so like from the beginning to this point, I've learned like a couple of lessons. Um, so I've learned to really know and master yourself. Like you really need to know and master yourself. I think at some point during COS, I wanted to be like, I wanted to be um, assertive like Goki. I don't know if that's the right word, but Goki just had this kind of passion, right? Like always pushing and stuff like that. But I knew that that was not me, even though I tried it, at some point. I knew that was not me, and it took me some time actually after my final year to actually know that I'm not that kind of person. I'm introverted. I I am not spontaneous, right? I like to think. It doesn't mean I'm slow per se, but I like to think and process things and like look at edge cases and produce results. And most times when I produce results, it's usually it's usually I would say quality because I've probably considered a lot of things actually. And so all these things, like it took me time to really master myself, to really know that okay, this is how I think, this is how I work, this is how I reason, and stuff. And then I also learned that you have to start small, like and grow it mentally. Like you feel don't just try and feel small like that. Don't now that we have like we're in the startup here, we can try a lot of things here and fail. Don't wait till you're in Google before you in a big organization where if you do something, it's like there's a very big consequence sort of. Um, and then I've also learned that you're not too small to run. I think this is a direct message to interns currently, because while I was at Konga, there was this lady, Itsuno from computer. She was mentored by Boye, and I think in her first few weeks too, she was, she used to say, because Boye would tell her then, I don't know, I think we all know Boye. Boye would tell her then that, don't worry, all these things I'm just teaching you, just be doing it. Read this thing, because Boye has been there, yeah, he has like the experience. Do this thing like this, read this book. Next day, he'll tell you, do this stuff. And Izuno did that for like, I think for almost a month. She was coming to stand up saying that I read this, I read that. To her, it was frustrating that all our colleagues were already pushing PRs and stuff like that. And she was just reading. But I think after some weeks, like a month and some weeks, Boye got married and then he had to go for honeymoon also. And on our team, I think we were 13. We were on the merchant team, we were about 13 engineers. And I think we had just Boye as the front end engineer. And then that was like the intern that was under Boye. And so when Boye left, Itunu just took charge, right? She just started churning like real super fast work. Like she was right up there. Like nobody even knew Boye was out of the office. You get like she was just and someone that actually didn't know a lot of JavaScript at her age, at that level, that didn't really know a lot of JavaScript before she came in. And after a month, she was already churning that kind of work. And she was so important that everybody, when they come to the merchant team, they are asking for it to know, hey, to know, to know, to know how you doing, to know how we're going to do this, to know. And at that level, the CEO won't come to me to know and say, hey, to know how we're going to do this. And it was really cool because she was just an intern, right? And sometimes I see us and we're like, we have this kind of, we are intern mentality. And it's actually not cool because you're not too small to you're not too small to be up there. To be honest, you're not too small to be up there. It's not a good mentality to say, I'm an intern, and if I do something small, I can be happy and I can go and sleep. You have to push yourself. The world is yours to take. And that's also something I've learned. And then there's the ripple effect. The ripple effect is real, and this is from like Mentorship International, right? Because Stokes mentored Goki and Yemi when they were in school, and you could really see. I can count like 50 people that Goki directly impacted. I can count. I wouldn't know. I don't know much about Yemi, but I can count like 20 people that Yemi directly impacted. And with that 50 people, you can see another 100 people that they've impacted. And you see the tech space today, see a lot of people in tech space today. Majority of them are from like OU, which is the truth. And it's to be fair, if you count, if you do the counting I'm saying, you will trace it back that it all started from talks, right? And that is something I've learned that see, you don't have to just go and do something massive on a small scale. If you can do something small, if you can impact 3 people, impact their life so well that they can go on, impact 10 people. Those 10 people impact 100 people. Those 100 people impact. And I've learned to key into this, and that's why when I like take up the this thing to mentor people, I try to do my best. I try to be patient as much as possible. Having the mindset that okay, in the long run, these people will go ahead and like produce like better people, and it just like keeps generating like that. And these two, I've learned this a lot from when I worked there as an intern. Learn to always do your best with little on supervision. Don't let people always push you around to do stuff, right? Be be self-motivated. Like try to just do things, be proactive. Don't wait, don't let people call you and tell you because trust me, your work speaks for you. I don't know how else I'll put it. Your work like in the workspace when people see you, right? And when you leave, when they ask me that okay, recommend somebody, I'm going to go to the person that I know that okay can do the job without like supervision, that can do the job on his own. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but a lot of times we just think that okay, we are working for our boss. We're not working for our boss. We're working for ourselves. We are creating our own legacy. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, that's something that I've keyed into as well. And this finally, I can't stress this enough. It's very important actually. Have a career plan, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes we can be demotivated. We can be like dragging our feet on the floor, not knowing. If you don't have, like, you have to really sit down and you have to say, okay, in the next 5 years from now, where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? And this kept on pushing me. Like I never compared myself to someone at Conga on Twitter making noise and blah, blah, all those things. Because at this point, I already knew like what I wanted to do. Like in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, what I want to be doing, what the things I want to know. My map, I've covered just a very small section. Every single morning I wake up, little things I can cover on my map, I try to cover. It's still big. It will keep you focused. It will let you know that okay, I have like where I'm going to. And there are different ways you can come up with a plan. You can check a lot of people on Quora, like people that are experienced in the field. You can even reach out to like more experienced engineers that you know around and just say, okay, boss, what is the tool? These are the things I like. What do you advise I take and things like that. Um, and then this select your friends wisely. I think this is like a known fact because if you don't, it's better for you not to even have friends. It's better for you not to have friends than to have stupid friends because they will pull you backwards. That's the truth. And it's more important to have friends that think that that make you see things that you wouldn't see yourself, right? Because I had a friend in my final year that already had plot of, it was in our clique, a programmer, he already had plots of land, like in different places, or was running estate management in Lagos and stuff like that. And I was like, this guy, 500 levels, already thinking like this. And I also had another friend, Demola, that was always applying to Google, always doing all these things like, and I was like, this guy, so they will change the way you yourself you think. Like you see friends like that challenge you. And I also started being conscious about, okay, my future, like, and then finances and career and all those and things like that. I started looking at my finances and say, okay, now that I have this money, what can I do? Where can I put this money? Where can I? Because of all those kind of friends that I had. So I think there are many more lessons, but these are like the core lessons that I've learned over the years. So at this point, I want to say a very big thank you for your time. I know I took a lot of your time, almost 1 hour. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, you can ask questions if you. Sorry, I didn't put questions, but yeah.
So how did Liverpool handle your career? Like, you mentioned about nothing.
Never leave. Okay. 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 So for Liverpool, this is my professional career actually. This has nothing to do with football, but I'll just answer your question. So I started following Liverpool when I was no in secondary school. I was a Portsmouth supporter, and then they got relegated, and then I had to look for something else. I was a Portsmouth supporter of Kano. They had a lot of African. I think the first 11, apart from their goalkeeper, was the only. It was also black, but it was not an African, like by nationality. So I loved them because they were all blacks. And when they got relegated, I had to look for something else. And my friend at that time was a Liverpool fan. So when I check Postmod, the next thing I check is Liverpool because I have to update him and tell him the scores. So when they got relegated, eventually it was normal thinking for me to just port to Liverpool because then we watch Liverpool games together and stuff like that. So I started supporting Liverpool immediately after secondary school. Until now, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'll probably join Man U. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
So I really enjoyed your short.
thank you. It's not short, but it's quite long. Yeah.
So, so I want to ask a question about the career plan.
Yeah.
So, from your own point of view,
Yeah.
which one is it making short-term plans or long-term plans?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So you need to do both plans. Like you need to have like a long term plan, something that encapsulates like everything about how you want your career to pan out. And then you also need to have like in that long term plan, you need to now start picking things that you can focus on the short term. So like for me, what I do is on quarterly basis, I just pick out because on my career plan, I wish I had the image. On my career plan, I kind of like have boxes linked together, like to just show you how I want to go. So I can just pick a box and focus on that box for a quarter, or focus on half of the box in a quarter, and then after that, I do the next box in the next quarter, and I just keep going like that. So both ways, like do like a long term, very long term plan, and then on the short term, like you can breaking them into like incremental ends to do.
So I have another question.
Being real, okay,
Okay, you mentioned something about choosing your friends wisely.
yeah,
So you also said that you shouldn't make stupid friends.
yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah,
So I want to ask you something. Like, if you have a friend that is actually not as good as you,
yeah,
but you feel is not up to your level, because the guy is trying to like look up to you,
yeah,
but you feel the guy is stupid.
yeah.
So
No, that's a good question. Yeah,
So, what you think making a switch friend because
That's fine. Are we still?
Yeah, so that's a very good question actually. So actually, there, in biology, we have different kinds of relationships, right? We have symbiotic relationship, commensalism, and all those things, right? A parasitic relationship where just one person benefits from another person. If you find yourself in that relationship, in that kind of relationship, you have to know, like you have to put priority on your relationships. You have to know, okay, that commensalism comes first, right? That you have to have like a set of people that you guys can both benefit from each other. That should be like the first set of friends that you should think about. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the first set of no, you're not manipulating anybody. I'm just saying that you yourself, you will know what kind of relationship you have with this person. You know what kind of relationship you have with this person based on like what the relationship is like, and you know how you would treat it. You know like the priority you give to each one. So I'm not saying you should drop the person. Of course, you can devote your time, your effort, and your energy to the person. It's all part of like the ripple effect I'm talking about. You devote your time to the person can eventually improve and then also multiply like that. But like I said, like your core friends, they have to be people that there's something going both ways, like that you contribute to and you get from and stuff like that. That is what I meant by like your friends. I meant like your core friends, people that you talk to like every day. You talk, you discuss things and stuff like that.
I want to ask you another question. So how will you rate your decision making?
Yeah.
Like how will you rate it? Because like someone like there are some times that I takes me longer to make a decision. And when the decision comes out,
Yeah.
it might be really, really bad.
Yeah.
And like what time is it? Like
So, I'm not sure I really understand. Um, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure I really understand to be honest. But decision is sometimes you don't get them right all the time, right? Sometimes they end up being bad, right? All you just have to do is if they don't work out, just learn from like what you did that produced that result, and then use it in the next subsequent decision. That's like just the advice would like give to you.
Can I think in the end, it becomes kind of like a process. Like you meet, you make an obstacle, you look at how what your decision making was like, and then you meet another obstacle, you learn from that former one, you escape the errors that you made that time, and then it gets better and better like that. So the more decisions you make, the better you actually become. It's not like an iterative process. I'm sure you're going to have a way of doing things.
Right. Then you wanted to say something? Later. Okay, okay, okay. Rashid, are you? Rashid. No, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Rashid, yeah.
So how do you measure progress? Like, for example, now you can stay like 3 months working and you can't even know if you
Or not.
because most likely you're working the same set of stuff. Unless say you picked up a new programming language and that's not really you just learn something new, you do stuff like technically like can't really do that like a progress. So how
Do you measure
how
up?
do you measure it like mentally?
Yeah, that's actually cool. So when you So when you pick, like for me quarterly, when I pick some set of things, like I try to I put actionable measures to it, right? So I know, so for example, if I'm reading a book, for example, I would say that, okay, I want to be able to solve like 75% of the questions in a book. That is like a, a point that I want to get to like at the end of the quarter. Or say I pick a programming language, I would say, okay, these are the things I want to read. I want to be able to know. So I already do some research around like what I want to know, and I just keep all those keys there and say, okay, at the end of this, I want to be able to know this. I want to be able to know this. I want to be able to know this. And those are like the things that just guide like my progress. So with that, I can track and say, okay, I've been able to solve 50%. I still have like this to go. I know all these things now. I still have this to go and stuff like that. So you have to put like um, you have to make them, you have to measure them, basically. You have to make them measurable. Yeah. Thank you. Is that all? Sorry for taking the time. Nice talk, sorry.
Yeah. No, I